We're going to make it uncomfortable for them so that they absolutely know that we're not going anywhere until they do. I can remove any door I want. Everything in the house is fair game.
I have nowhere else to go!
Ashley and Roy locked themselves inside the bedroom, refusing to come out no matter how many times they were called. But Flash Shelton had already expected that, because according to him, professional squatters are experts at hiding inside rooms and dragging situations out for as long as possible.
Jesus, I don't even know why I'm looking at that.
Oh my God.
So Flash came up with another plan. He signed a renovation lease with the homeowner, which legally made him a tenant inside the house, and that gave him the right to work on every part of the property, except for the bedroom Ashley and Roy were staying in. A few moments later, Flash grabbed his tools and started tearing doors apart. Cabinet doors, room doors, anything he could legally remove started coming down. The entire house quickly filled with loud, non-stop noise.
Attention, Ashley and Roy.
Ashley and Roy finally started to panic. Not long after that, the bedroom door finally opened. Roy became more and more aggressive, but Ashley was clear.
Dunked it. And he was like, coming off.
Families who have dealt with this kind of thing already know. Cold water and saline dough, almost nothing. Then suddenly one thought flashed through the doctor's mind. Oil breaks down oil. Tar is oil-based, so they needed something oil-based to slowly loosen it up. The first thing he thought of was petroleum jelly. After they put it on, that outer layer of Terali did start to change, but then that layer of tar was still getting harder. So the doctor kept thinking what else was oil-based and came in a large enough amount. Then
Hey, James, you know that burger place next door?
Yeah.
and he immediately told the assistanto go to the burger place next door and bring back 2 huge tubs. The second it got there, the boy pushed Sheeta's whole hand in. That layer of tar that had been wrapped so tightly around the hand started softening little by little, and when they started picking at it again, it was already coming off in chunks. That was when everyone finally felt like they could breathe. They kept soaking it, they kept scraping, and little by little more skin started showing. At that point, the doctor could finally see that even thought there was already clear burn damage underneath. The only thing did the doctor say it for the first time. This hand should be salvageable, so everybody watching, do you have a better method?
If you see someone running, especially an ER nurse, you know that you need to figure out what's going on.
Lying on the stretcher was a baby. The infant was completely blue. She showed almost no signs of life, the nurse explained, with a shaking voice that the baby had been found inside a toilet. The umbilical cord had just been cut, and the mother had disappeared. Andy checked for a pulse, and the heart rate was only 60. Far below normal, meaning the organs were already shutting down. Another problem quickly appeared, however. The baby was unbelievably tiny. Even the smallest intubation tube he could find was still too large. There were no other options. The tube had to go directly into the trachea, or the baby would die staring into the infant's throat. He couldn't even see the vocal cords clearly. One mistake into the esophagus, and she would die instantly. Andy forcefully lifted the laryngoscope. The movement itself could injure the baby, but without it, she definitely would not survive. Finally,
I was really afraid that if I did this wrong, this baby would die.
Finally, the vocal cords came into view, and the tube was successfully inserted into the trachea. But the emergency still was not over. She was too tiny for IV access. Her veins were impossible to catheterize. Andy had no choice but to use the most dangerous option, injecting epinephrine directly into the lungs. This procedure was normally forbidden. The liquid could block the alveoli, and she could permanently lose the ability to breathe. Everyone's eyes stayed fixed on the monitor as the numbers climbed 60. 120, the baby had come back to life, and the baby was taken to intensive care. Who would throw a newborn into a toilet? Could this tiny baby who almost died actually survive?
Comment 777 for the next episode.
I come around the corner and bam, I smash into something.
George is an extremely dangerous prisoner. He'd been lying motionless on the bed for 5 hours straight. The police suspected he was faking unconsciousness.
If I drop his arm and his hand magically misses his face, well, then he's faking.
And 3 officers kept a constant watch on him. Escape was practically impossible. The doctor began examining George. On the surface, his vital signs seemed completely normal. His pupils also reacted normally, which ruled out a brain hemorrhage or drug overdose. To confirm whether he was only pretending, the doctor did a sternal rub test. The pain from rubbing the breastbone would make anyone who's conscious scream out, but George didn't react at all. That strongly suggested he was truly unconscious. The doctor grew worried about what was really wrong with him. Maybe he wasn't faking it after all. To make sure and prepare for a CT scan, the doctor convinced the police to remove George's handcuffs and leg restraints. A few minutes later, the CT technician rushed out in a panic, calling for police backup because George had woken up suddenly.
You yelled,
Dog pile!
and the three of us jumped on top of him and he couldn't get up.